All right, I decided to go ahead and make an additional video to assist anyone who wants it with the actual note taking of the assignment. I'm not going to do the whole assignment, but I will get you started. All right. Really what we're doing this week is all sorts of things are coming together. You know, we created the framework. Now we're going to actually be taking notes. We've been using critical thinking skills. You're going to have to be writing your short answers. It's all coming together in this assignment. And if it is feeling like a little bit much to you, that's exactly how it should feel. Because this is the first time you've had to put everything we've talked about in the last 4 weeks into one assignment. It'll get easier. All right, so what we have right now is the framework that you created in the last video that I made. Now today what you're going to be doing is filling that in as you are reading the assignment. So your assignment is to read in notebook pages 66 through 69. Grab your handout and start reading, and you're going to start filling this in. So let's take a look here. D, great teachers and champions of the faith, the fathers, apologists, doctors, confessors, martyrs of the church have made glorious professions of the faith. They are justly famous either for teaching and defending their faith or for publicly professing it under difficult circumstances. Our appreciation and love for the faith will greatly increase if we become acquainted with some of the illustrious members of our church. All right, so that very first paragraph then that we have, and we have this space right here, using some of the things you've learned about just picking out key words, not using small words, analyzing what's the most important part of this. I'm looking at it, and what I would say, what I would write down is that if we know about these people, it's going to help our faith. So I'm going to just write, knowing increases my faith. So look what I did here. I did knowing, and then I underlined the great teachers and champions of the church. It's going to increase my faith. So I took probably 75 words and combined it down, synthesized it down to just this. So now let's take a look at the next section, section 1, Fathers of the Church, as we read. The famous teachers and defenders of the faith in the early days of Christianity are called the Fathers of the Church. Those who lived during the times of the apostles or immediately after are given the special title Apostolic Fathers. They received the deposit of faith directly from the apostles, and having explained and defended it, handed it on to their successors. Among the fathers are St. Clement of Rome, the first of the Apostolic Fathers, St. Polycarp, Bishop of Smyrna, and a disciple of St. John, and St. Ignatius of Antioch. All right, so next, in this section here that we already outlined, we created the framework, we have Fathers of the Church, and then next to number 1, I have name some Apostolic Fathers. All right, so what kind of information do I need here? Well, I need a definition of Fathers of the Church. The famous teachers and defenders of the faith in the early days of Christianity are called Fathers of the Church. All right, so I'm not going to write that down word for word. That's crazy. I don't have time for that. None of us have time for that. We want to just summarize it. Okay, so key words would be maybe like famous teachers / defenders of the faith. I'm just going to write faith, and that they were in early Christianity. And I'm going to just do that because that means something to me. All right, so famous teachers, defenders of the faith in early, and that's how I symbolized Christianity. Then it says that there are those that lived during the times of the apostles or immediately after, and they're called Apostolic Fathers. And if you remember from our framework, we had Apostolic Fathers written down. And now this is our time to fill that in. So who were the Apostolic Fathers? They lived during apostles or soon after. Okay? Not complete sentences, but things that mean something to me, that I can read that now and know what I'm talking about. And then for number one of our questions, it says name some. So let's write down. We have St. Clement of Rome. And we have St. Polycarp. And we have St. Ignatius of Antioch. Okay. So that's how we took all the information from that first paragraph and summarized it. Now I'm going to stop for just a second because this is important for you to understand. Question number one that you're going to have to answer for me in full, complete sentences to be handed in was name some Apostolic Fathers. So you'll be able to use this little section right here and you'll say, Apostolic Fathers lived during the apostles or soon after, and some of them were, and you have it all right here. See how easy that's going to be? Easy. Okay, so let's move on to the next section, which is about the apologists. All right, and I can already see on my framework that I need to know who they were. So the apologists are Christian writers who lived at the time of the fathers of the church and who courageously defended their faith against the attack of pagans, heretics, or schismatics. The two most prominent are St. Justin Martyr and St. Irenaeus. St. Justin wrote several apologies, that is, defenses of the faith. He addressed one to the Roman Senate and the other to the emperor. Because of his learning and his fortitude, he obtained a lessening of the persecution. Okay, I've already gotten information actually that I need, all right? Who were the apologists? Okay, so what we can write is that if we look back through, we have Christian writers, and I'm just using the cross sign again for Christian. Christian writers lived time of fathers. What did they do? They were courageous, defended faith, and then some examples were St. Justin Martyr, and St. Irenaeus. Okay, so let me show you what I have here, how I filled that in. Okay, so again, now let's look at question number 2 that you're going to have to write out. Who were the apologists? I've got it right here now. Who were the apologists? The apologists were Christian writers who lived at the time of the Apostolic Fathers. They courageously defended the faith. Some of the apologists were St. Justin Martyr and St. Irenaeus. Okay. Now I'm still going to go ahead. I'm not going to read it right now. You can read it. Read through who some of the other apologists were. Okay. So I could actually add more. There is Clement of Alexandria, so I'm going to write that down too. And Tertullian. Oops, sorry, didn't realize I was off camera. Clement of Alexandria and Tertullian. So now when I do my short answer, I can say, apologists were Christian writers who lived at the time of the fathers. They courageously defended the faith. Some examples are St. Justin Martyr, St. Irenaeus, St. Clement of Alexandria, and Tertullian. All right there. Excellent. All right, I'll do one more section because I'm having so much fun. Doctors of the Church. Let's look at here at the outline. What am I looking for? Doctors of the Church, eminent for? Oh, that's right. That meant what are they known for? And then I'm going to need to name some. So let's read. In every period of history, God has provided the church with men eminent for their learning, for their sound teaching, and for their holiness of lives. Right there. Bingo. There's the answer. What are doctors of the church eminent for? They are known for, I'm going to just do a colon. Eminent for, colon, they're known for their learning, sound teaching, and holiness of lives. All right. There we go. These men are called doctors of the church. The age of the fathers is definitely closed, but new doctors will be added to the list. Although these great teachers are not limited in any century, some of the greatest of them lived in the early ages from 300 to 500 AD. Two groups of these are especially famous. Oh, well, already looking at my notes from what we did in the framework, I'm pretty sure I know which groups are going to be famous. The Greek or Eastern fathers or doctors, and the Latin or Western fathers or doctors. Let's see what we've got. The first group, known as the Greek or Eastern fathers, lived in the East and includes, okay, now we need to name some. So we're going to say they lived in East. You might say, I can figure that out. I don't need to write that down. But you are going to want to list who they were. So we have Saints Athanasius, Basil the Great, Gregory Nazianzen, can't remember how to pronounce that, and John Chrysostom. So you're going to write down their names. And then the second group, known as the Latin or Western Fathers, include names such as Saint Ambrose, Augustine, Jerome, Gregory the Great, we shall learn more about these men and their works when we study church history. And you guys are studying church history, and I'm pretty sure you've already talked about these guys. All right, so again, you know what the framework looked like. This is how you're actually filling it in and taking notes. If I was going to answer question number 3, which was, what were the doctors of the church known for, and name some, now I can look right in my notebook and say, the doctors of the church were known for their learning, sound teaching, and holiness of lives. Some of the Eastern doctors, or I could call them the Greek doctors, I could call them, Eastern fathers, were Saint Athanasius, Basil the Great, etc. And some of the Western doctors were Saint Ambrose, Augustine, Gregory the Great, etc. Okay, again, all that information is right there in your notes and ready to go. So what you're going to do is finish up Confessors and Martyrs and get that information filled in. I will tell you, there was no question specifically on Confessors, but that does not mean that you don't take notes, okay? Because if you were actually in this religion class, even though there wasn't a written question about it, there might be a test question about what confessors are. So you want that information down, okay? So still take notes on that section. And then the same for section 5. All right, so you're going to get that filled in now. You'll actually have your notes done today. And then tomorrow, you will want to do the short answers on a piece of paper, or you can type it up to be handed in on Tuesday. All right, good job. God bless you guys. Thanks.